What is masculinity? I hear a lot of people talk about it, kind of have a gist of what it maybe is. We know when masculinity is toxic, but what does healthy masculinity look like? What is the opposite of masculinity? And why is it so fragile? Why do a lot of people defend it or, grasp at it very, very tightly because it breaks so easily? So, like, what is masculinity? Let me just search the web. Let's see what people on Reddit are saying. An example I point to is Mufasa from Lion King. He's strong, powerful, leader, a protector, honest, has his emotions under control, but equally doesn't throw his size or weight around. You never hear him make demands of people because I'm king and I said so. He doesn't bully or intimidate. He makes sure those underneath him are treated fairly, keeps balance in the kingdom, unlike Scar later on. He doesn't hide his emotions or suppress them. He's aware that he's afraid of losing Simba. He isn't ashamed of that fact. Doesn't try to hide or deny it, and even openly admits it. He tries to teach and pass on knowledge and lessons without claiming to know everything. He can be strict and stern, such as when punishing Simba for enduring his and Nala's life, but also kind and playful, etc. Now and again, many of those traits will overlap with women, and that's the ideal traits for a woman to have. And that makes sense because it's a universal ideal for everyone to be honest and loyal, for example. But that just means there are overlaps between ideals, which is what you'd expect. The differences lay in the variances, the manifestation of these traits, and the degree of importance. For example, being a protector. I absolutely expect my wife to fight, but if necessary, die to protect our kids, and the same to me. Okay, I see what he's saying. I really do like how he was describing the fact that he's a leader, a protector, he's honest, has his emotions under control, but he does not throw his size, weight, around or justify things just for the sake of I said so or I'm bigger or insert here. That is definitely something I also agree on because what's her name? Oh my god, I already forgot her name. Bell. Because the patriarchy is defined as the male being the center and everything revolves around him, and like they have the right, that a man has the right to punish those beneath him or put everyone in their place, etc., etc. And I definitely don't think that should be the case, so I agree with him on that. Someone said, buddy, I have no idea. Someone said, I think that masculinity and femininity are far more about aesthetics and mannerisms than personality. All the other comments are things that that all people can do. They just might look different doing it. Masculinity to me is earthier, darker, more geometric, and less ornate aesthetics. The mannerisms are less expressive, more direct, more protective. I definitely see this point of view. Like he was like the first person was talking about being honest, being protective, and how these are universal traits that a man or a woman or anyone can exhibit. If anything, all these good things, I think society sees all these things as good or being a good human being. That's something I've also always thought of. I'm like, well, a man, when people ask, what is a man? What is a man? You list these things, someone honest, someone loyal, someone, et cetera, insert here. But then I'm like, well, dang, like a woman can also be these things. Does that make her more masculine? Some people might think that might take away from her femininity, but like you can definitely be confident, loyal, strong, et cetera, and still be feminine or at least feminine presenting. Interesting. I kind of do like that, where it's like that second person was definitely, kind of hinting at like it's more about aesthetics. So, and obviously, I think whenever we see that, I think that's very clear. Even just thinking about it in makeup, like if you want to look more masculine, it's more about like harsher contours. It's more about like, yes, definitely like geometric straight lines. And when you think about like femininity or wanting to look or present more feminine, present more, woman like, you think of like more rounder features. You think of like softer features even in terms of colors. Like he was saying, darker, earthier, geometric, less ornate. And definitely, I think we can all agree to where someone who maybe leans more masculine is definitely less expressive. Like you're not moving your hands a lot, you're not being really out there. Growing up for me as a boy, society tells you don't talk like that, don't move your hands like that, don't sit like that. Why are you, playing with this? Dolls are not for you. So I think I grew up with that filter in mind. And I don't think that it was exclusive to just me being gay. I think that every boy had that. Or at least I like to think about that. You know what I mean? I think every boy is taught to like you to be a man, you do this. You have to be like this and that and the other thing. I mean, I think even now, I think a lot of men who never really questioned it um probably are doing things that aren't the most natural to them, or they're probably like performing masculinity. This is where you see a lot of the that in the conversation. Oh, men are performing masculinity because this is what a man should do. This is what it means to be masculine. And if that's not true to you, then you're performing. You know what I mean? That's not authentic. And a lot of people can often tell. I remember a friend told me once that like he wanted to pursue like content creation, videos, cameras, that all fascinated him, but his dad was very closed-minded, very conservative, very, 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 very subscribed to the patriarchy, very like, men don't do that. That is gay. If you do that, that's gay. That's not something a man does. He put that in his mind, and he always had that in the back of his head, and he kind of never pursued it. And from what I've seen, he's still scared and hesitant. I'm surprised he even told me, to be honest with you. What does filmmaking, what does YouTube, creating, what does content creation, what is gay about that? What is feminine about that? What about it is not masculine enough? I guess at the root of that, it's about being expressive. I feel like in our society to be masculine is like this person was saying, be less expressive. So obviously filmmaking, recording yourself, making movies, et cetera, even like in that aspect, like, acting, hello, that's all expressive. That's too much. That's gay. That's feminine. That's bad. That's what our society says it is. Anything that's not masculine is bad. I think that's what I've seen. You know what I mean? That's why, like, with me, it's taken me forever to break out of the shell, to like be comfortable with who I am, to be, more natural with who I am, how I do things, how I say things, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that a lot of guys, mainly straight guys, let's be real. But you don't have to be straight because, like I said, I think that as boys growing up, we're very much traumatized with this is how it needs to be. And if it's not like that, then there's something wrong with you and you're not. You're not masculine. You're not like one of us. You're like one of them. You're weird. People have called me weird. People have called me gay. People have called me weird. People have called me all types of names in front of me, behind my back, and thank God that I've lived to see another day. So that's why, very much what doesn't kill you makes you stronger vibes. That's why I keep going. There's a lot of guys out there, it doesn't matter what your sexuality is, that are very much in the trap of grasping at that, at like, I need to be masculine. These are the rules. I need to follow them. There are some that have that resistance because that's not entirely them. And there are some people who are just naturally masculine or whatever, right? And they don't ever really question or think about it. But maybe more people question it than we think. I don't know. You guys let me know. But I was just curious. I'm like, what is masculinity? What does that mean to people? Let me just keep reading a few more. Someone said huge COCK.
Sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God.
Okay, girl. Lifts, drinks natty, probably. I don't know. Stoic. Ah, okay, I like that. Stoic. Don't let your emotions drive you. Always put other people before you. Be humble. Don't be upset over something someone says or does. Always look out for the little guy. I like this. It's very, I would say this isn't toxic. You know what I mean? Toxic in a way of like always put people before you, don't be upset over something someone else says or does. I think that draws on the edges of like that could be very unhealthy if you don't express yourself or don't let yourself feel certain things. Always putting people before you. I feel like that can be a little dangerous to where it's like, okay, but what about you? Help everyone else before you help yourself. That could be dangerous, filling people's cups from an empty cup, that we know that that's not really viable. I've seen that for, up close and personal. So I can see where it's like, ooh, but I definitely see what this person is saying. Like I agree that I think I've seen that. Yeah, like someone masculine is very much someone that doesn't let emotions drive you. Yeah, he said, be humble. You need to be humble, put others before you, always looking out for the little guy, always like being that defender. I think that let's say like characters in films and TV shows, the masculine ones aesthetically have a certain look, right? Like more stoic, less expressive. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a gay thing or maybe because that is what the ideal version of a man is. But something about a man like that attracts me to him for whatever reason, whether that be, physical attraction, you know what I mean? Or even just wanting to be around that person or wanting to get to know the person or wanting to befriend the person, etc. You see it a lot in the gay community to where there is this maybe toxic obsession with like the mask for mask. That is a big thing. Oh my god, that's a big thing right there. Like, oh no femmes, etc., etc. That is disgusting, dangerous. But like, let's be real, that is something that is very prevalent, I believe, in all cultures, where like everyone wants to get close to that ideal. Let's say, for example, in media, when characters portray that really well, but also they play it too well to where like they are stoic, they are this masculine person, but they also have like a soft side, or you know what I mean? It's very like they're very the most perfect ideal characters, almost unattainable in real life, maybe not realistic, but definitely really nice to fantasize. I believe that, for example, like in heated rivalry, hello, oh my goodness. I think that that is a reason why it's also very attractive to us, not only like for gay men, for example, but also for women, because you do get to see these very, very masculine guys do very unmasculine things, like talk about their feelings eventually, eventually, or touch each other. I mean, hello, the show, right? All right, right, right. Be expressive. I think they flip the whole narrative of what it means to be masculine on its head while also still being masculine, if that makes sense. In aesthetic. I think that like let's say for example because Shane is the bottom, the stereotype is that the top is masculine, the bottom is femme, etc., but we are, evolving knowing that like hey, you can be whatever and be whatever, right? That didn't make sense, but okay. I feel like it satisfies an itch for both of those audiences, for gay men and straight women. The fantasy of like the ideal masculine guy. Like for women, it's like, oh my god, he's so masculine and yet he's so communicative. He's so what is this putting me above him, choosing me, almost like savior type vibes in a way. And I feel like a gay man also has that similar vibe, they get that from it. And also, we are always, for me, I can talk about me. Like, for a minute there, I really thought that, like, oh, once I find this one guy, he's gonna be so masculine. He's gonna save me from myself, and it's gonna be this great grand thing. I don't know, but I believe that this show really taps into that for better or for worse. And I kind of love it because yeah, it does feed into that like fantasy. It does feed into it's like sugar, it's like candy. It's like ooh, it's really interesting. I definitely want to see where it goes, but I mean, we can all tell, you know what I mean? The show would not work if one of them was really feminine. Well, obviously, I mean, this is hockey, so like they both have to be masked. I get it, you know what I mean? Being able to kick someone's hat off in tight Wranglers and cowboy boots like Chuck Norris. Being stoic, strong, great, brave, competent. Having the capacity to be in touch with every emotion and the entire scope of your conscious experience. Having the wisdom to know when or how to express them. So just being an emotionally mature and well integrated individual. Masculinity and femininity are aesthetic. Having good character is universal and should not be confined to gender. Okay, okay. Yeah, I think that that's where I think that's the camp that I kind of lie in, where, like I said, I'm like, well, it doesn't matter if you're a woman, a man, or non binary, etc. Like, I think we should all strive to better ourselves. Yeah, to have that, be emotionally mature, etc., all these good things, right? Like, I don't think that just is exclusive to oh that's only for a man. Maybe it's a matter of aesthetics, and I think that we can agree that just because we live in this society together, right? We live in this society together, we can define or point out that's feminine, that's masculine, just visually. I think there's some good ideas in here about what a positive masculine self-image looks like, but as already pointed out, a lot of the traits people have pulled out aren't necessarily masculine. They could just apply to anyone. I don't think the question is properly answered if we just talk about What does a man mean to me? And ignore what people mean broadly when they talk about masculinity. A woman setting goals for herself and being a provider wouldn't be enough for most people to call her masculine. Yes, I agree. A woman doing that, yeah, you wouldn't call her masculine. You'd call her like girl boss or, a baddie, a girly who knows what she wants and is going for it. The descriptive part of masculinity may sound a bit stereotypical, but it's just part of knowing it when you see it. Taking charge of situations, being competitive across multiple spheres of life, making oneself heard, valuing independence over interdependence, etc. These aren't necessarily virtues, they're just styles and behaviors that are considered more characteristic of men. If we take our idealized version of masculinity as the norm, example, men hold themselves and others accountable, you'll quickly find yourself in contradiction with how things work in practice. Boys will be boys. I'm not saying you have to shape yourself around gender norms, but it's also helpful to understand what they are so you don't get trapped in a world of is ought dissonance. See, I see that point where, like, yeah, we should not shape ourselves around these norms because we as a society have set them. You know what I mean? So I think that that's what I was hinting at earlier, where I was like, we are who we are and we gravitate towards what we gravitate to. How else can we explain it other than like it just is what it is? That's why you always get some people who really are trying really hard to subscribe to a gender norm. Yeah. So, like, being this is what a man does, this is what a woman does. But if it's not really the most natural to you, mama, like, there's no point in wasting your life doing that, right? I agree with that. Like, we should not have to bend backwards to conform to things, even though people who are blindly or gladly either able to or they just haven't questioned it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, they're gonna look at you like, well, don't do that. That's not what men do, et cetera, et cetera. Or they're the ones that cry a lot about men shouldn't wear makeup, women shouldn't do this. Those people, oh, they irk me so much. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but they do. Because I'm like, girl, let people live. As long as no one is harming anyone else, what is the problem? What's it to ya? What's it to ya? The number one thing is being non reactive. If someone slights you, bumps into you, or says something negative, you don't react on autopilot and allow yourself to get angry. This means you are strong both physically and emotionally. So you don't let someone else's actions dictate your thoughts, emotions, or actions. So while you could absolutely defend yourself if necessary, you do not allow negative interaction to change your mood or raise your blood pressure. You don't give them the reaction they're looking for. But if they continue to escalate, you can keep yourself and your group safe because you're physically capable. That's the definition of a man to me. Someone who can make everyone feel safe not only because they're strong and focused, but also because they give everyone else a calm sense of certainty because they're not going to blow up or react unpredictably if someone says or does the wrong thing. A couple of other things stem from this. He will be ambitious and work to provide for his family. He is considerate and he sets the tone for everyone else to have a good time. He takes ownership of his mistakes and works to reconcile when appropriate. As a result, he is a leader who people want to follow, emulate because he is who he is and what he represents. Unfortunately, most men, especially those who didn't have a masculine role model, react very emotionally. If you do something that they don't like, their first instinct is to yell and get mad. It's like their IQ drops to animal levels and they want to fight or at least act like they want to fight. There are certainly other things, but I don't think most men even fit this criteria. But if I was to say someone was ultimately masculine, it would be someone who is physically dominating and emotionally intelligent but non reactive. He's completely in control of his emotions, thoughts, and actions. So that's definitely a theme I keep seeing where people are talking about someone who is masculine as someone who is a protector, someone, and by protector, someone who can dominate or fight or defend themselves in a group, others, etc. Is emotionally intelligent, someone who doesn't let their emotions control you. I think that is a theme that we keep seeing. I can see what they're coming from, but like I said, women can also exhibit these traits, and maybe they should, and so it's like that's not really exclusive to being masculine, but I can definitely see what they're saying. Every masculine trait can have a feminine equivalent. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what we keep coming back to, right? Someone might say courage and strength are masculine, but then again, one of the hardest things humans can do is go through pregnancy. It takes immense strength to push through that. So is it really masculine? Some may say being emotional is a feminine trait. Right, right, right. Obviously, hello, we've seen that, right? But some bonds between men can be near unbreakable when they show their true thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Same with beauty, usually a feminine thing, but Y'all ever seen a dude with a perfectly shaved beard? Immaculate. So I have a hard time defining what is masculine and feminine. I usually ignore all the masculine alpha stuff. I just do my thing and go with the flow. I love that because that is one of the reasons why I think I struggled growing up, because we get the you have to be like this, you have to do this, you know, the endless amount of rules, and like this is what it means to be a man, blah, 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 right? So I do like his take where it's like I ignore all of that. I just do what I think is right, go with the flow. And meanwhile, even though we try to do our own thing, we obviously know what the rules are. So that's always in the back of the mind. Even me sometimes, like in public, let's say like if I'm the only guy in the group, I kind of do feel the pressure of like, oh, you know, you need to, you know, watch out. You need to take care of the girls. You need to, you know, like, hey, open the door, you know, be mindful of these things, you know what I mean? Like, and part of me that I think part of that comes from like, oh, like what are other people gonna think? But then also I'm like, well, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I kind of want to as well, but definitely I do feel that sort of like societal pressure, for example, when I'm around like my sisters or like other girls. Do you know what I mean? And this is the last one right now, but it's saying anything that people put here will just be good qualities that are achievable by either gender. True. I think true growth comes from when you stop measuring yourself against masculine ideals and instead use human ideals. The best of us didn't become who we are by measuring ourselves against others, but by being our best selves despite what the world wanted us to be. If emulating others gets you to be better, by all means go for it. But to be your best self, you're going to have to look toward yourself. Very true. Girl, I agree. But something that just came to mind right now that I'm thinking about it, I think as a stereotype, people think of tops as masculine, bottoms as femmes, but anyone in the community has seen you can definitely be a masculine bottom and a feminine top. You know, each thing isn't exclusive to each other. You know, there's just proof of like anyone can be anything. Well, I think that concludes our little research journey trip, field trip that we did. I would love to do more videos like this. I don't know everything, but I would love to explore more things about masculinity, the patriarchy, what we can learn from media about other men. I'll be honest, I never, up until recently, I never truly felt connected to other men. Growing up, I was always pushed to the side, not really counted in, forgotten, etc. To the point where, like, near high school, like, I didn't even try to befriend guys. And I didn't realize until now that wasn't the healthiest thing, because then I developed like limerence, etc., and all these things. Okay. I think that we as men really do need other men in our lives. And especially, I think like one of the posts was saying, like, if you don't have like a healthy masculine like figure in your life, you tend to let emotions control you. That's where you get like the little boys who always want to fight, or like are very emotionally like volatile in the worst way, you know, like I'm thinking about someone who throws a tantrum and they're like a grown ass man. I'm so blessed to have had my dad, and he taught me a lot of great things and some not so great things, but it's like not his fault, you know what I mean? But whatever. I want to explore more of these topics. This channel, I wanted it to be my gay little corner, but I'm just thinking like, oh, I don't know, like there is a lot of gay things I can talk about, and because I am a gay man, that is where my experience comes from. But I don't know if I want that to be the absolute overarching theme of the channel. So if you see this, enjoy it, got any benefit out of it, want to continue the conversation, please comment down below what you think masculinity is. What has been your experience? I would love to hear, but also I would love to hear feedback on what you think this channel should be moving forward. I'm still practicing, learning. It's brand new, but I definitely want to like hone in on who I'm making things for. So if you have any ideas or any more topics I should talk about, let me know. I'm like I said, I'm definitely not an expert. I'm only 25 years old and very limited experiences, but I still have a lot to say. Okay, I still have a lot to say, and I have a lot to learn. So I would love to explore more things. Please subscribe and share this video with anyone you know. Okay.